But it's now clear that the private sector are the ones who can create wealth. This is not so simple because it's not so clear. So when you are talking of walking the talk, you must first of all solve the talk. And you cannot solve the talk unless you solve the thinking. You think, you talk, you walk. But the problem is at the level of the thinking. Because you cannot talk what you don't know. So, the private sector is now clear. Of course, there's also some limitation there. You need to be very careful. But it's a long story. I will not go into that now. It is enough for us for today to say, in order to create wealth, and remember when you create wealth, like that man Wekesa, he owned some few, I don't know what to call them, hotels, but some facilities. Now, they are his wealth. But if you go there, you find that man employing some people. So, it is wealth which creates jobs. So when you hear people say, jobs, jobs cannot come unless you deal with the issue of wealth. If I have a farm, it is my farm, it is my wealth. But that wealth of mine creates jobs for other people. If somebody owns a factory, it is his wealth. But that factory creates jobs for people. So therefore, we need to really clearly say that after a long time of conceptual search, looking around for the way forward, it is clear that the easiest way to create wealth is through the private sector, through private sector-led growth. But the private sector needs a number of things. Once you answer that, then the next question is, what does the private sector need to grow? The private sector needs market. You must have market. If you produce and nobody buys, or they only buy a little, that business will not continue. So therefore, when we come and we talk, until our voices almost will develop throat cancer, please, integration. Unite these markets. We are telling you that if you don't unite the markets, you will fail. The private sector will not succeed. And if you are not sure about that, you can look at a country like India. India has got a population of 1.3 billion people. The internal market of India is 1.3 billion people. But before they opened up, in spite of their huge internal market, they were stuck. They couldn't develop. China had a huge market, has got a huge market of 1.3 billion people. But before they opened up, China was very poor. It is when they started selling to so many people that China is now the second richest country in the world within a very short time. What was the stimulus? The market. So here you are, you have Uganda, Republic of Uganda, member of United Nations, member of OAU, president, ministers, honorable, all sorts of types. But it has got 41 million people who are moreover still poor. And you find the minister just sitting in the chair, when a businessman comes in the office, what can I do for you? So, ignorance is a good thing. Really, because if you're ignorant, nobody can blame you. And you are not even aware. So when we keep struggling, please, let's reassemble the East African community, which had collapsed in 1977. Then we say, okay, struggle with COMESA. Recently, we're struggling with the CFTA, Common Continental Free Trade Area. It is because we know that without a market, there is no hope for growth. No hope for growth, no hope for wealth creation sustainably, no hope for job creation, and no hope for stability. But people don't understand this very well, because if they understood it, they would not play around with it. Sometimes they just talk because other people are also talking about it. But they don't really internalize it.